so difficult, but like, as I've said there, I felt so guilty and disgusted, and it's so hard to accept that you have a problem.
You're listening to The Big Drill.
And here we are on The Big Drill.
Hello everyone and welcome to The Big Drill. As always, Will is here with me.
Hi Ghazi.
Hello Will. And today
we have a guest. We thank Dan for coming on. Dan is a member of the gym that we work at in Hammersmith. Dan, say hello.
Hello everybody, thanks for having me, guys. Nice to be here.
Pleasure. It's Sunday morning, it's bright and early.
It's quite early.
We've had to pull Ghazi away from watching the UFC.
I'm quite gutted about that.
But he'll get over it, won't you?
I'm already over it. I've watched 2 fights already, so...
So, what are we here today to talk about?
You tell me, Will.
Okay, I will. So, basically, obviously the podcast has a general thread of mental health. And because I talk to people on the gym floor, because I'm a sociable kind of guy, you kind of find people's stories that that come to the gym on a day-by-day basis.
Social butterfly,
aren't I? And we have Dan's story here. Now, Dan's story, we were talking. You tell us, Dan, what's your story?
Yeah, sure. Got chatting to Will. Had a few ups and downs in life, I guess we all have. I lost my dad when I was 24, so in 2012. I hadn't even been living in London a year at that stage. Going through loads of changes, come out of uni, got a job at Sky, was delighted, just felt like everything in my life was going the right way. My dad had like health issues, but nothing extreme, and he'd gone away, taken my mum away for her birthday, and I spoke to him probably on a Friday, and he died the Tuesday morning. So he died while they were away in his sleep, and I'd been out because it was the bank holiday weekend, it was the Queen's Jubilee, so we got the Tuesday off as well. Okay. So I'll never forget that. But I'd been out the Monday night, bladdered, as you can imagine,
tearing it up in London.
Yeah, don't you know? I'd had like a number of missed calls off my mum in the night, and then I think I eventually heard my phone vibrate about 8 in the morning. Answered the call, bad news, and I just remember falling out of bed and falling into my wardrobe, and then everything else was a blur from there. I went home, just everything in that situation. It took about 2 weeks to get him home, and then to sort funeral and everything from there. But like, fair play to, I was at Sky at the time, and they were brilliant with me, understood the situation. It's really tough, but I had a lot of turbulence and up and downs off the back of that. I had a massive gambling problem.
Right.
The last conversation I had with my dad, he'd asked me to go out and put a bet on for him, like literally £1 each way, £2 bet, but because I was so involved in work, and I was like, I can't even get out, I need to do this, and I didn't manage to go and do it. So subconsciously, that was probably the trigger.
Interesting.
And I didn't know or understand at the time. 18 months after that, I probably didn't accept that I'd lost my dad, and I was just so up and down with the gambling. I was like, some of the figures, like, insane what I was throwing away, but it's not real money when you're doing it online, is it? I got to a stage, and then the straw that broke the camel's back, shall we say, was at my brother-in-law's stag do. So another thing, my brother-in-law was going to wait until my mum and dad came back from the holiday to ask my dad if he could marry my sister, and something compelled him to do it before they went, and obviously got my dad's blessing, which is massive. Absolutely huge. So grateful for that. I went away. It was the weekend Andy Murray won his first Wimbledon, so I'd lost a lot on the Saturday on the women's final, and then tried to get that back playing blackjack in the hotel, drinking all day. I was thinking, I'll be fine, I'll get it back, and then I got the train back from Newcastle on my own on a Sunday, just from bad money after bad money. Andy Murray, Djokovic, but Murray won, and I got back that Sunday night, like 3-day boozing session out my head, and then I woke up on Monday, checked my bank account, I was like,
all gone.
Disgusted with myself. I couldn't even get up, I couldn't even move out of bed to go to work. I was like struggling big time, because obviously lost all my money at this stage, and then I've also lost my dad here.
Yeah.
So it's like coming to terms with all of that. I phoned my boss at work and I was just like, I won't be in today.
And that was 18 months after.
Yeah, that was, well, around that would have been about August 2013, that year. So 14, 15 months maybe. But yeah, I was so up and down for months. It's like I'd get a good win up and then I'd be like, oh, it's not the fact that you're winning the money, it's the highs and the lows of it, and you just, it's hard to replicate. But that was my escapism, obviously, from losing my parent. But yeah, from there, I was so disgusted in myself. Like, I hadn't told anyone what my problem was. I've lost my dad, I'm really struggling, it's come and hit me now. So it probably took me a little while after that to even tell my mum and my sister. But I was bad. Like I said, I couldn't get out of bed, I couldn't move, and as you can imagine, I had suicidal thoughts. I was like rock bottom, like a shell of a man. And then something compelled me to tell my mum and my sister, and the only thing I can think it is that I couldn't have put them through anything more, like with us losing my dad. So luckily from there, I was, like I said, with the money, I was at zero. I hadn't gone into any debt, so it's not like anyone was going to my mum's for money or looking to break my knees or anything. I was just so lucky. I realised at that stage, and then I sought counselling from there. And
we've both spoken about the benefits of counselling and having that in place for anyone who is struggling from a mental perspective, or their mental health is a bit up and down, and that can be a very positive part of anyone's life to have that in place.
Definitely, mate. Yeah, well, that was magic for me, because it's easy to say, but I don't know if I'd still be here. It's that bad where I was at that time. I needed help, and there's absolutely no shame in that. I'm so proud of myself for seeking it and going away and doing it, because from where I was then to where I am now, it's an incredible change in me. But so I was going to counselling for just over a year. I was in one-to-one sessions for about 10 weeks and just getting nowhere. I couldn't stop crying. I was like, my life's over. What am I actually doing with my life? And then I ended up going for group sessions, and to realise you're not the only person going through this situation, and everybody's got a story, and there's people who had similarities to my story, there's people who were a hell of a lot worse as well, and you just think, goodness me. But yeah, it was really important for me to see and like not feel like I was on my own, because I've got a really good friendship network down here and good friends and groups of friends, but I didn't have my family, and it's difficult because I was signed off work for 3 months with depression at that stage, so my doctors were still at home. So I think I spent more on the trains than I did gambling in this 3 month period, because I was back and forth, going home, seeing my mum, seeing the doctor, coming back to go for counselling, and I was just, my head was all over the place, as you can imagine. But
progressive wins with that spending money rather than the house winning. Yeah,
that's the thing, isn't it? It's going on something like that's an investment per se, rather than just pissing it up the wall, for want of a better phrase. But yeah, I can't thank work enough in that situation. It was so understanding, and then I eventually went back to work, like on a phased return. But I was just like, it was weird because I was still going for the counselling, and it's just a blur. That year, I think, in my life, how I managed to keep the job, I don't know, but it was a good focus in the end. And like you were saying about training and playing sport, it's unbelievable what it can do for your mental state, isn't it? So I played, like I say, about friendship network, so I joined Barclays Bank Eagles football team when I moved down. So one of my best mates from uni was down in London, and we got back in contact when I moved, started playing for them. But yeah, that season when I came back, I had no money, so I literally just focused on football and the gym and sport. I watched the whole of Breaking Bad in less than 2 weeks, honestly, just to keep my mind off the gambling. I did.
I've not seen Breaking Bad.
It's the best show, but I think it's my link to it being, it takes me back to that stage as well. But get on it, mate, it's class. I did the insanity workout, so I just needed to fill my time to take my mind off the gambling at this stage. Yeah, it was such a weird situation, but I had an unbelievable season with the footy. I was as fit as a fiddle. That was my main goal and drive at this point, but it kept me away from it. And then came to the end of the season. I've never done it before in my life, but I won Player of the Year that year, so that's so poignant to me as well, because people understood my story, and it's like a family with the football, and everyone was really nice with me. Yeah, and they understood where I was at and that. And then I booked to go to America on a 3-week road trip in June of 2014. So I finished my gambling counselling just prior to that. And guess where we finished the trip in Vegas? In America was Vegas.
Vegas. You dropped the punchline in.
Rewind that. It's too early. But that was like a massive acid test from the go, wasn't it? There? So yeah. But the fact that I'd saved the money again and I'd paid for the trip was massive.
So with the gambling, I mean, I'm curious as much as to say that when I was younger, I saw people gamble and a couple of things get out of control with that gambling, which kind of like let me see part of how people can really become disconnected with what they're actually doing. It becomes a really almost like a subconscious behaviour. I mean, don't get me wrong, I've had a flutter. I'll go down to the horses like every now and then. My brother will message me through some really dodgy horse racing tips, and I'll place a bet and lose the money and go, yeah, that was a great tip, bro. So that kind of happens every now and then. But I've never been in that kind of the way in which someone just kind of bets and bets and bets and doesn't really have any conscious awareness. Now, I mean, to end on zero before you started to switch things up, fair play, because a lot of people are in a shitload of debt. Like,
it's scary, mate.
It is scary, and it is a huge problem in this country.
I'm just remembering that you said Tottenham were going to win against Bayern Munich and you put a bet on it.
Yeah. Sometimes you've got to go against the odds, haven't you?
It's like Mourinho's there now.
Yeah. I was like, come on, Mourinho.
Look at Leicester when they won the league.
Well, yeah, true.
Who would have had money on?
But I found the thing that kind of, so you don't gamble now.
Not at all.
Not at all. So it's almost like a cold turkey.
Yeah.
Even when you went Vegas.
I did in Vegas.
Okay.
I was there for 4 days and I limited myself to $20 a day, and I was absolutely fine with it.
And you stuck to that limit.
I was absolutely fine.
That's control right there.
That is.
I've had moments since where I've been, I'm having a tough time, but that is still the trigger there. But I'm aware of it and conscious of it now. So, touch wood, nothing as severe has happened to make me go over the edge.
Yeah.
And hopefully, it never will, because I think I have the control and discipline to know when the triggers arise for me.
So was Vegas the last time, or did you?
No, I've had little bits in between, but nothing to
Yeah.
excess. It's like you say, I go to races now with my friends, and I'll probably have like a place pot for £1 or £2, but I'll give the money to my mates to put on.
Yeah. Because then you're not actually place it. You're not actually handing money over and placing it. Yeah.
And even go back to that. So when I came back from, or when I was in the counselling, my mum had all my money, so my wages were getting transferred directly to my mum. I couldn't trust myself, because it was niggling away at my head for ages. It was like, oh, it's alright, lash your money on this, you'll win it back. That's the
I've got
demon.
a question.
Yeah.
And I hope you don't mind me asking.
Far away.
Was it the death of your father? Was it sudden, or was it you guys kind of had a feeling? Like, was his health deteriorating, or?
He'd had, it was sudden in that instance, because he was on holiday. So it was like, surely if you're well enough to go away, then you should be okay. But probably the December of, maybe 2012, it must have been December 2010, he'd had an operation at that stage, but it was to help him make things better. He wasn't ever of like full health, but we weren't concerned, so it was very much out of the blue, yeah. And as I say, with them being on holiday, you think everything's okay, and them to be allowed to go. So, but yeah, real shock, and it hit me hard, because my dad was like my best mate. He was my hero, the best fella I've ever met. God rest his soul. But yeah, and that a lot of my friends were saying, oh, it couldn't happen to anyone worse, because they know the bond I had with my dad. And it's really tough. But yeah, shocker.
I think when you get that, I mean, whether you're expecting the phone call, whether you're not expecting the phone call, we've spoken about my mum, and the length of her illness was 12 years, and that, that's kind of like, then there was a year and a half of that kind of palliative care, where you are at any point could be taking that call.
Sure.
And it's such a shit call to have, whether it's out of the blue, or whether it's almost like there's two perspectives. The one that it's like you're in limbo, you're waiting for it, and every time a family member calls, you're like, shit, what's this call about? Oh, if it's my sister or my dad or something like that.
That's
But
a good point.
on the flip side, obviously, you've got the like, where the fuck did that come from?
What's worse? Neither's better, but what's worse?
Exactly. It's a very, I mean, like, I can't relate specifically to your situation, but obviously we've spoken, and that kind of that kind of death of a parent is something that obviously is inevitable for us all, but at such a a young age, or before their time, shall we say, is kind of like, and it does have a huge emotional impact on on the family, but also the child's kind of dynamic place in the world.
Absolutely,
just completely shifts.
Yeah.
And I think that people, it's one of those things where that person becomes then very emotionally vulnerable for different things happening to them. So your vulnerability was obviously with regards to the gambling and how that went, and mine was probably more to do with like control over food and control over that kind of element of negativity, I suppose. So it different things happen in different ways for different people, but it's a tough gig, right?
Absolutely. I'm aware we've gone in heavily here, so it's very close to Christmas, and we don't want to be too morbid. So
well, we're probably gonna release this after Christmas, I think, this one, aren't we?
This week.
Sure.
But around Christmas as well. Like I've had a client who's had a to your point, things do get a bit shit for people at Christmas.
Absolutely, yeah.
And I think it's important to like acknowledge that Christmas is a great time, a fantastic time, fun time. People wear awful Christmas jumpers.
You said fantastic wrong then, mate.
Did I? But basically, you're in a situation where there is also a flip side where people do reflect a lot over Christmas, over that time. Obviously you don't, because
I don't celebrate.
you don't celebrate
fine.
Christmas.
That's fine.
But there are times that you reflect, right?
I still reflect.
Sure. And that's the thing now, is I think it makes you appreciate and cherish the family that I still have left, because I go back home every Christmas. I've got my mum, my sister, my brother-in-law, love them to bits. I've got my dad's two brothers, so I've got my family still all up there. I've got a niece, she's 3.5, and it's magic again when kids at Christmas. So for as sad as it is without my dad, it's great because I'm so tightly knit to my family still, so it's so important. It means a lot.
So go on, no, you go.
I'm gonna ask a question. So I really want to try and dig deep here.
No, go ahead, it's all good.
So you talked about when you accepted that you had this gambling problem. Was there a point where you were denying it?
Absolutely, the whole time.
I was. So you kind of knew, but you was kind of convincing yourself, it's fine.
I was in all kinds of trouble. I'd be sat at the end of that couch, and my mum would be here. I'd be on my phone. My mum would probably think I'm texting somebody. I'm losing coin, like heavy coin.
Really?
It's bad. But I know a lot of close friends who have gambling problems now, and it's like I try and encourage them. I'm like, it is absolutely a problem and will ruin your life, and they try and get on board because they know my situation. But when I'm talking to them one-on-one, I'm like, oh yeah, of course it's terrible. A couple of my mates have been for counselling but not stuck with it. But when I'm not with them and they have some downtime, and they be like, oh, just throw a few quid here, a few quid there. And that was the thing for me, is like I come home after work, just be on my laptop, just on the casino. I'd be gambling in work. That's how bad it was. It's like I wasn't conscious or involved in. Like I said, I don't know how I kept my job, because the only thing on my mind was gamble. Where am I going to win my next few quid from? Who am I going to bet on next? The low light is when you're gambling on virtual horses, isn't it? That's when you've got a problem. It's that late in the night, there's no sport on, and you just got to go. It's absolutely farcical for me to even talk to you about that. But I can see it now. But at the time, you're so immersed in it. It's like, I can win money here. You can't. You're going to lose money here.
So I know. I have friends who gamble, and I can see it as being borderline a problem. What's the best piece of advice you can give as someone who's overcome?
Yeah, it's so difficult, but like as I've said there, I felt so guilty and disgusted, and it's so hard to accept that you have a problem. And that's the thing, is if I can tell one person my story in my life, and they can maybe think, oh sugar, maybe I am doing a bit too much, maybe like I need to wind it in, but it's not that easy, because it's when you're so immersed in it, it's like literally is there. But the biggest thing for me was getting help and going to speak to people, and as I said there, seeing like-minded people who have been through the situation. It's like, I can talk to you guys, but you don't understand it on the level where I'm at.
Yeah.
That's why I'm again talking to my mum and my sister. Like, my mum is like good cop bad cop. My mum was fuming, like furious. She's like, what are you doing? I work too hard for my money, and so do you. Don't be doing it. And then my sister's like, but we've lost Dad. He's going through a lot of emotional stress. He's away from the fact. My sister's unbelievable, and if I didn't have her at that period, who knows, because I didn't need the shouting from my mum, but I understand it from her perspective, because she doesn't want me to be doing that or be hurting, but there's just ways of dealing with it. But to take yourself out of the mindset of being so far gone, you have to want to do it.
There's acceptance,
yeah,
isn't it?
but there's no quick wins either. It's like, it took me a long time, and I still have the thoughts, but hopefully, touch wood, I'm strong enough to control them. A lot of any kind of addictive behaviour, like the kind of the science behind it, the first step of changing any behaviour is to become consciously aware of it. So to your point where, Ghazi asked a great question, as you always do, Ghazi. Thank you very much. And about like the kind of, were you aware? Did you at what point were you in denial and stuff like that? I think that when I've spoken to people who have been in addictive positions, even I've found myself quite addicted to doing bits and bobs before, but they're in a situation whereby you've got the opportunity, if you can pull yourself out of it's not necessarily about denying it, but you can actually kind of pull yourself out of your body and see you doing it, then you've got the choice of either denying it or meeting it head on, right? So it's like kind of like, if you're not consciously aware, you can't deny something you're not consciously aware of. It's just almost like an automated behaviour. So if you can get out of that and become consciously aware, then you can be in a position where you go, yeah, this is a problem, or no, I'm actually going to deny it's a problem. So then you have choice. You kind of like almost manifest the option if you can become consciously aware. That makes sense? That absolutely does, but how much easier said than done is that? That's the difficulty, completely, isn't it? Yeah. I think like with the counselling that I've gone through, like kind of my behaviour was questioned in an exploratory, compassionate and non-judgmental way by my counsellor, who was very like, okay, so what do you think of that, or kind of like drew me out into that like astral position, almost, so I could then make comments in an aware fashion. But and to your point, actually speaking to someone, but I think it's also it's got to be the right person. Yeah. Like, so your friends which have been to counsellors but haven't stuck with it could well have been the wrong counsellor. Absolutely. It's not necessarily them. It's just that it's exactly the same with personal training, right? I take on a client, and I've had fantastic results with many clients, but some clients, it's just not been right. Yeah. It's not been right for us to move forward with their goals. Sure. So I think you kind of like have that position when you pull yourself out to be able to then make that conscious decision to change. Definitely. On that as well, again, Sky brilliant with me in the situation. I was offered bereavement counselling, but it was only over the phone. Right. You didn't want that. Hated it. I think I had to, but I just felt like it was too intrusive, and because I wasn't face to face with the person, I was like, I needed that connection. And God bless whoever it was that was trying to counsel me, but I couldn't tell you how angry I was when I came off the phone to them. I just didn't feel comfortable. I was like, maybe I wasn't ready either at that stage. But yeah,
It sounds like it made it a little bit worse.
probably
maybe.
did, Will. Yeah,
Yeah,
probably
but
did.
no, that's a good thing that you didn't go, well, this is useless, because you could have
Yeah.
easily went, well, counselling is
I'm not
different.
gonna try
it
again,
doesn't work.
yeah.
But you thought, let me go in person.
Definitely, yeah. But my situation got a hell of a lot worse after that, didn't it? So yeah, I needed it, because that was pretty soon after I'd lost my dad and I'd gone back to work for the period.
Right.
Yeah, so I wasn't probably as bad down the line with the gambling at that stage.
So, it got worse after that. So
I think that's
May
a
have
good
been
point then.
another-
It's finding the right way or the right person to help you
Absolutely.
through it.
Yeah, and
Oh, go on.
I was just going to say, to try and bring it back to the exercise training and everything, I've got
Yes.
such an addictive personality, it's crazy. But other than gambling, I always try and find positive addictions. I've never touched a drug, I've never smoked, because I'd be finished if I was on any of them. But yeah, like running, gym, football, it is an absolute addiction. It's like I said to you, I went to the gym last night at 9:30 when I got in, because I know I've got a busy day today and I was like, I can't get in, I just need to do exercise to keep my mind straight. I'm quite a placid person, like friendly guy, but I'd probably be in jail if I didn't have the gym or exercise.
Unless you're defending Everton, then you're quite.
I have to, don't I?
Supporter of Everton.
Absolutely ruin my life.
Can you just show the camera that you got a little Everton badge?
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to the Blues. No, I mean we've both been in the industry a fair amount of time now between us, and I see addictive personalities with people that come in to the gym, but the thing is with exercise addiction is it's not like on the surface, it's not like a destructive behaviour that is necessarily as obvious as other addictive behaviours,
Sure.
right? So
It's the same with gambling now. Nobody knows you're doing it.
sure.
Sorry, mate, go on.
No. But it's kind of like you can actually dress it up in a really positive way. Like, oh yeah, I go to the gym loads. I do. Oh cool. How many times?
So the difference is you're telling people you go
Yeah.
to the gym all the time, whereas with the gambling, you're kind of keeping it secret.
Yeah.
Or even with that, you'd be telling people how much money you're winning.
Yeah.
And the wins are
That's
few and
the-
far
that's
between,
the
but you're not
classic,
talking
isn't
about
it?
what you're losing.
Yeah,
Sure.
yeah.
But I think one of the things with almost like it's that moderation, isn't it? It's that moderation. It's that balance. It's like if say for example you didn't get to the gym last night, and then you found yourself today not having been, how would you feel? Would you feel different?
Absolutely. I'd be struggling, because I know what's coming today. I'll be having a few beers, but I'd feel so guilty that I didn't go, because I didn't go Friday morning. So if I hadn't gone for 2 days, in my head it's like, oh, it's Christmas, I'm drinking too much, I need to do exercise, I need to do this. Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it? But that's how I get. Just the buzz that you get from the exercise, and that's the thing. Often, most days I'll come in the morning and it sets me up for the day. I feel so positive. I then go into work, and whatever's going to come and hit me, I'll be all right, because I've had my release.
Yeah. Well, it's very cathartic for a lot of people. I train a lot of people, which sometimes it ebbs and flows. I think sometimes it's really important for them to come in just to reset the mind, to have that little bit of like escape from work, maybe the family, their own time for themselves, where they can focus in on what they want, and
Absolutely.
minimal, if any, interruptions. But then there are other times where people do have a specific goal. I'm not saying that kind of like resetting from a mental point of view is not specific, but more of like a performance related, with regards to like, I want to run this, I want to lift this, I want to lose this amount of fat. Sometimes those specific goals, well, they are really important, but at the same time I think there needs to be this movement in the fitness industry where people can just come and train just to feel better from a mental health perspective. And I think that needs to be spoken about. I mean, I train for my mental health. I mean, sometimes I find it, I'm a coach, so obviously there's expectancy to train and kind of have yourself. It's my job, it's my work. It's it's
Mine too, yeah.
yours too.
So I do train.
So you do train as well. Never trains with me,
That's not true.
Very rarely.
We did boxing like the other week.
Yeah, very rarely. I don't know what it is, but he doesn't like training with
That's
me.
not true.
He always trains with other people.
Oh,
No, I train with everyone.
take that offline, eh?
But I think for me, if I didn't if I didn't train, I would be in a position of feeling like kind of, I don't know, like the build up of like a bit of anger, and like if I get injured or anything like that, I immediately hit that
Same.
kind of when you've done your hand, and I've done my back, you've done your back a couple of times, and if I go a week without training, if I choose not to train because I'm going on holiday or because I'm deloading or whatever, and it's my choice, not a problem.
Yeah.
If
it's when you're forced.
I'm forced and I can't do it, I get really arsey.
Like, same, but I went to Sri Lanka, didn't I, a few weeks ago, but the first few days I couldn't train. I was like literally jittery, and then I kind of accepted it as like I'm on holiday. I work so hard the rest of the time, I just need to switch off and relax. But just even not being able to go to the gym and like it's a battle, isn't it?
Yes, and I think that it's important that people, you know, whenever you like meet someone or on the when you're touring or something like that, or speaking to someone on the gym floor, and there's this thing that I used to do when I was coming into the industry, like naps. It was like names, aims, progressions, and successes. Okay. So I used to talk to people about what they were looking to do, how well they're progressing, what success they had achieved, right? And I used to speak to people around. I didn't obviously stand over the clipboard, and it was a natural conversation I had with them. But I question now, the thought that I've got is, how many people, if I was to do that exercise again on the gym floor, would turn around and go, I train for my mental health, or whether there's still too much stigmatism attached to it, where people go, oh yeah, I'm looking to lose whatever, or I'm looking to, mental health obviously is connected with like feeling good about your body and confidence and stuff like that, but I'm talking more about of a release, more of like a.
I don't think you probably from me, because we've both been through it, but we've had help, haven't we?
Sure.
So we've spoken to people. There is a massive stigma still, and I don't think people are comfortable enough to release it. It's like you say, though, like body confidence. It's great to feel and look good.
Sure.
But for me, I don't want to be like absolutely massive. I'm not in bad shape, but for me, it's so important to just release from your head.
Yeah.
It's like if I don't go in the morning and I'm going to work, like I say, I'm like this, and I need to go. I'll have to try and go on a dinner break here, or I can't go at night because it's too busy, and then I can't unwind. Like generally when I've been late on, and I'm just like, tomorrow it is. I'll have to go and do twice as much tomorrow.
Right. Yeah.
Crazy, but I love the gym. So good for me. I cycle. I don't play football or any competitive sport anymore now, so I cycle. My commute's on the bike. I do like 8 miles a day now. I used to do 14, so I was flying with that. Oh. Yeah, because I lived out in Twickenham, but I'm in Richmond now. So that's the only cardio I'll do. If I'm in early in the gym and I've done my weight sessions, I may go on the bike or cross trainer and do a little bit, but it's tedious doing cardio in the gym.
What's the reason you stopped playing football?
I'll take some positive reasons. My mum turned 60 and my sister had my niece, and it's a massive commitment playing footy, like train over Wednesday, play Saturday, and I didn't get home much, so I was just like, I came to a point where I left the team that I was talking about that was family and went and joined another, and it wasn't quite the same vibe. Okay. I had to go with it, but I just like, it's not the same, and there's more important things in my life now.
Okay, so that was the reason was to do more positive things with your family. No, I think that's a good reason.
Have you ever thought about golf?
I ain't got a temperament. I've played one 18-hole round and left in disgust after 3. I just haven't got the temperament for it.
I'd agree with you there. Yeah.
What do you mean?
Just play football.
Yeah. I've got like a few of my mates are unbelievable at golf, and they're angrier than me, and I'm just like, how can you even do it?
Oh, my mate regularly hits his golf bag.
Yeah.
Like walking around like smashed, but for some, I find that for me is like, say, the weather this morning, it's cold, right? A bit chilly, but lovely clear blue skies. I mean, this is the type of environment which I would go if I wasn't going to the gym, because obviously work and stuff like that. I'd just go, right, I'm heading down to do something like that. Sure. Is something, and it's quite demanding from a physically point of view, walking around. Me and Ghazi have a huge disagreements about that, but no, I mean, if you're moving on to do something more positive, like spend more time with family and stuff like that.
Yeah, that's a massive thing for me as well. But yeah, my sister having a child is huge, isn't it? And it was the poignancy around it would have been my dad's 60th birthday, and the baby was due the day my dad died. She came a bit early, and my mum, sorry, no, it was my mum's 60th, apologies, was the 1st of June, and the baby was born the 27th of May, but the baby wasn't due till the 4th of June, but that she arrived early, and she was there for my mum's 60th,
Yeah.
just poignant and all that, so
Very much.
just little things, isn't it? But yeah, just so close to my family, and I don't miss the footy really,
No.
because I'm doing better things, I'd like to think, so yeah.
You'd like to think.
A lot of responsibilities being an uncle, right?
Well, yeah, to an extent. I love her to bits, but I can give her back, can't I? So,
Yeah. Well, when they get a bit older, I've got 2 nieces myself, and I take them. Last adventure was up, went up the O2, climbed over the O2 and stuff like that, and it's good. It's a real. I mean, I love being an uncle, and like, as they've got older and I've watched them grow up, I know it's been difficult for me at times because of where I've been,
Sure.
like to kind of maybe be the uncle that I wanted to be, but
yeah,
I've those 2 kids have like helped our family through massively, and like brought things together really,
absolutely,
really
mate.
nicely.
Yeah,
So
and that's the thing. Like when she was born, it's a sad time. My mum turning 60 with my dad not being here, but the baby was here, so everyone's so positive. And like Christmas especially is unbelievable. I phoned my sister and my niece on the way over here, and like a conversation, the vocabulary's come on so much. She started school in September, and it's like I'm having a proper chat with her now.
Yeah.
She's not a baby anymore. It's,
a little, like a mini adult.
yeah, but like it's such a conversation. And my sister, she got her on a loudspeaker, and I'm like, this isn't me niece.
Yeah.
Like, it's crazy how much she's come on in such a short space of time. But the magic, aren't they? Just the innocence and naivety, and Christmas as well, like just buzzing what she's getting, and Father Christmas and all that. So yeah, it's brilliant.
It's good. Very special time, and it's really like, obviously, we've spoken and gone through some real shit times you've had, mate.
Yeah.
But when you've kind of like moved through, transitioned through, learnt from mistakes or learnt from behaviours, and kind of evolved and tweaked and upgraded, and I think for me personally, like, as long as you're always doing that, everyone fucks up from time to time.
Yeah.
People don't always get it right, and I think that there comes the opportunity to go, well, I'm going to get it right next time, or I'm going to be a little bit more accurate about what I do or how I behave, or make better decisions and stuff. And a lot of people, I think, find themselves in this like almost like cycle of like helplessness, where they make a mistake and then they just look and feel shit about themselves and go, oh no, I made a mistake, and then make another mistake slightly different and then feel bad again. And that kind of like beating yourself up type situation, I don't think, well, it's one of the things which kind of leads to like chronic addictive behaviours and chronic kind of like negative behaviour and stuff like that. So to get through talking and through the work with counselling, to get yourself out of or to avoid that, and just to learn and kind of like progress and evolve to be where you are today, is really admirable and fantastic, and a great story. Great story.
Thanks, mate. I appreciate it. I was going to say, I think you know me enough. I'd like to think I'm quite a positive person. I've been through a fair amount. Like, there's worse people, or people worse off than I am, but I have been through a lot. And it's like coming to the end of this decade, and you think, this 10 years for me has been like undulating as crazy, but I'm in such a good position now, and I've worked so hard to get back on my feet and where I am, doing really well professionally again, and I just feel like it just, like, the penny kind of dropped a bit. But the difficult, as you mentioned there, to go through the things and to seek help, there's no shame in it at all, because if I hadn't have done, it's like you say, you just literally spiral, and it could have been so much worse for me. But luckily I had such good support from friends, family, the counsellors, and I was so grateful, because for all that's a massive part of my life, it's something that I can look back on and think it was really, really tough, but what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, to be cliche, but it's so important to me, and I genuinely feel like I'm going the right way now. And as I say, if anybody wants to talk or listen, or I'm so happy to just explain what I've been through and hope nobody has to go through that. But yeah.
So if you could say 3 steps that you would advise someone to do in if they're in a situation where they're a little bit overwhelmed, things are becoming too much for them, they've become aware maybe that they've got an addictive personality towards various things, what negative behaviours, what 3 steps, what would be the first thing that you would ask them to do, or not ask them, but the first thing you'd give them advice to, second and third thing?
I'd say absolutely just stop for a minute, because I'm the same. I'm like 1,000 miles a minute. I'm relentless with everything, like gym, work, everything. I'd never have a break. So take yourself out of that, and invariably you'll be absolutely shattered, because everything that's going on, you just need to withdraw yourself and remove out of that space and just look at it and think, this isn't positive. I think that was a big thing for me, is speak to somebody you trust, for sure. So for me, obviously I had my mum and my sister, obviously differing experiences from speaking to both, but like good cop bad cop really helped me. So speak to somebody that you absolutely trust and can say candidly what's going on and how you're feeling, and I guess from there take it whichever way. For me, I had to go and seek counselling. I've spoken to people who've had issues and they're like, I can't counsel, I'm happy to talk to you on this level, and I'm great. That's great, I'm happy to talk to somebody, but I'm not always going to be there. I'm probably not going to talk to me as much as you would to a counsellor once you get on the level. There's
objectivity there, and I've spoken to people that I'm close to around sensitive topics before, and I know that I've got a decent amount of knowledge around psychology, behaviour change, and kind of like motivational factors and all those kind of things over the years, but I've got emotional bias, and that's a big thing. Like to your point about your mum and your sister, I think like to be succinct, so kind of stop, which 100%. I was talking to someone the other day about it. It's like people just don't stop. People find it very difficult to sit on their own and be on their own.
Yeah, I think people find it difficult to listen to their own thoughts.
Yeah, they do. I do.
I do. Massively for me, because I'm having about 42 conversations with myself here, and not a lot of them are positive.
That's like that film, innit? Split. But so stop and actually like take a moment and allow yourself to take a moment in your own kind of like environment. Talk to someone you trust. For you it was your mum and your sister, but then be aware that whoever you talk to, if it's not a professional, is probably going to have emotional bias. They're going to want to protect you and be overly compassionate. Your sister, they might want to chastise you overly, like your mum. Kind of we know what mums can be like that. It's
so right with the emotional bias though. That's the thing. My mum only wants me to be happy, and my sister does, and to be fair, it's probably a perfect combination for me that I had both sides of it, because I understand what my mum's saying and I just needed a cuddle off my sister's, and that really helped me. But you're dead right, Will.
And then move on and seek that professional body to be objective and know that they're there, and that's your kind of place where you can
for sure
divulge.
And then off the back of that, have something positive to work towards. And I know that may sound like it's not feasible or whatever, but I had the plan with my mate to go to America, and that was it. It was like, rather than waste all my money just throwing it away gambling, focus on something that is tangible and that you can achieve in a reasonable amount of time. Similar to going to the gym. If you're running a marathon, you put the effort in for that time, and it's like relative that way, isn't it? But
I think I've mentioned before on I don't know if you've watched the episodes or not, it's fine if you haven't, but I've mentioned that I think finding something competitive, where not like you have to crush yourself to become world champion or something like that, but something like for the football, for example, something that kept you competitive and it kept your mind off everything else. I find helps me so much.
Totally agree, and that's what I touched on there. I don't do anything competitively anymore, which is odd, but I'm still competing with myself. Do you know what I mean? I want to cycle quicker or lift heavier, but absolutely it's so important, and that was what kept me going through that situation. And it's like you're saying about golf. When I play sport, I'm quite aggressive, and
You want to win.
I can release that although it's becoming less and less of a contact sport and it ruins my life. But yeah, that was my release massively. You win a header or win a tackle or score, the release, you can't replicate that, can you?
What position did you play?
Centre back or right back.
Oh,
I centre back too, just so you know.
I'm
Where did you play?
AMC, attacking midfielder.
There he is.
Wow.
Gylfi Sigurdsson.
You're the playmaker, are you?
Playmaker, yeah, that's what they call me. That's like, if any of my mates are listening to this, then I'm going to get absolutely nailed. I'm pretty bad at football, if I'm being completely honest.
There's one thing you've mentioned, and I think I just want to quickly touch on it.
Sure.
You were talking about those periods of time where you're feeling suicidal.
Yep.
My question will be, was there a moment where you thought you were going to go through with it? And if so, what was it that stopped you from doing it?
Genuinely had the thoughts. I can't put my hand on heart and said that I could have gone through with it, because it's absolutely frightening to think like life is so precious, and I think where I'm at now is like, geez, for me to have even had the thought. I had such a lovely upbringing, I had great family, great friends, great school life, everything, and I was like, I'm having a really bad time here, and for me to even be thinking that it scared me like massively, and that's why I had to talk to somebody. And like I said, I'm so guilty, I feel so ashamed that I've done this and lost all my money, but I've got that good and stronger relationship with my mum and my sister that I knew I could talk to them. But it frightens me to death when you please don't take this the wrong way, but people say when you've committed suicide, it's a coward's way out. It isn't. You've got to have some balls to go through with it, but to be in that situation where you actually do go through with it, and to think the demons and stuff that people must have, it's so sad. But yeah,
I don't think it is a coward's way. I think
no, do I? But
no, yeah. I think that people do coin that phrase, don't they? But I think that until someone has been in that person's shoes and can, which you could never be, because it's their shoes, right?
Absolutely.
That's the whole thing about someone's own perspective. It's very unique. And if someone decides to do that and go through with something like taking their own life, I mean, they have probably, in their own eyes, exhausted every single option that they could take.
I've probably used poor choice of words there, and I didn't mean it to be that way. That's what I'm saying. Like, for you to come to that point where that's the only answer is. Like,
I'm confirming. I'm bashing up what you're saying. Absolutely, yeah.
So what was it that? So you were having the thoughts. What was it? The fear, or what was it that made you go, no, I can't. I need to go get help.
I think I was scared to think that I was even having the thoughts. I couldn't get out of bed, literally couldn't move. I was like, even to go to the toilet was a struggle. I could not move, because all I was thinking was, I want to gamble, but I've got no money. And like I said, I couldn't stop crying. I was just in floods of tears the whole time. I was like, I need to talk to my mum and my sister. But part of me was like, I can't like speak to them, because they're dealing with losing dad as well. So I don't want to give them another problem. But something again compelled me, and I was like, this could go very, very badly here, or I need help. I didn't know how I was going to seek help at the time, because I wasn't even conscious with anything. I was just like, I need to talk to my mum. I need my mum here. And then I think I told my mum first and got that reaction. I was like, I need to ring my sister straight away. And how it is. It was at that time. It's like, but yeah, it is such a blur, the situation. And I'm like, I know I'm talking to you about dates and things, and I'm thinking I wasn't even conscious in my life for this period. I remember going on holiday at one stage with my mates in May, and I think, again, going back to the tennis, it was Nadal Djokovic was the French Open final, went to 5 sets, and I won a lot of money on it. So I'm in Portugal living the dream, and my bank balance is going ding 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 ding. Then as soon as the tennis is finished, I'm looking for something else, and I lose a wedge, and I'm on holiday with my mates having a great time, and that's all that's on my head still. It's crazy. But I'm deflecting from the question, but I don't actually know. Something, luckily, easy to say, but hopefully my dad was looking down on me and thinking, you need to do this. It's something in my head positively, but yeah, it's frightening to think.
But whatever it was, good,
And another, sorry again, when my sister actually got married, I gave her away. It's an honour and a privilege, but it's one you never want. But I'd been prescribed antidepressants at this stage, and my mum was like, no, don't get them because you'll get through it. I took one and never needed them really, because obviously I was having my counselling, the doctors were on it and all that, but I'm glad I didn't get addicted to them, because generally I'm a positive person and I just needed to get out of that rut. And the fact that I have actually been clinically diagnosed as depressed is like, wow. I remember when we were kids, one of my best mates split with his girlfriend, and we were like, oh, you'll be alright. It was a pretty serious relationship for that age. It was like, come out and have a drink, you'll be sound. But he was so sad and down. I'm not saying it's depression, but he was so down. But you don't understand that, because I'd never been in a situation, and things can get down.
Now you could probably see how he was.
Absolutely.
At that age, you didn't know how to
But
deal
he's
with
like,
it,
mate, you
so-
need to snap out of this. But that's the worst thing you can say.
Man up.
Yeah,
Exactly.
man up. And,
Exactly.
And this is like, I mean, from a mental health perspective, emotional verbalization of how you're feeling and like what's going through your head and stuff like that. There is still a huge stigma attached with men, and how, like you just said it, man up, or I mean, when we're young, you kind of like your older brother or your dad or another male family member might, if you got upset about saying, oh, don't cry like a girl, stop being like a girl, or and you're in this situation where from a very early age there is a subliminal expectancy placed upon a male to not divulge emotions, to not speak about how they're feeling, to just get on with it. And the point I made earlier about the change, or would there be people, if I spoke to them on the gym floor, would say that I just train for my mental health to keep that in a positive place. If you were to then drill deeper on that, how many men would on the gym floor have the awareness and that kind of feeling to say, I train for my mental health? Because it's almost like a double whammy. It's a mental health stigma, and also then it's
showing vulnerability.
A male and a male female difference, right? So you might find there more females might say, I train for mental health, but I don't think you would find the same amount of males. So it's really positive. Again, you're a positive guy. That's why I got you on here, Dan.
Thanks.
So I was like, let's get Dan. He's
So you're
positive.
saying we can't have negative.
We can, but but then you've got to turn him into a positive fountain
I can do that.
yeah.
We like to end with a moral dilemma question.
Have you thought of this one?
I've actually got one, and it's quite a heavy one.
I'm good, because I tell you what, I didn't have one.
I'm a bit reluctant to ask this now.
Oh no!
Come on, far away.
I get
Do you give me
nervous.
permission to?
I won't promise I'll answer it, but you can ask. Now go on. I'll try my best.
Okay, so you're an inmate, and you don't have a son, do you?
No.
Okay, good.
Hang on a minute. We're not going down the child asking one again, are we?
The child? No. You have a son. You're both inmates. Your son tries to escape prison. He gets caught, and the guard's a bit of a dick, and he says, we're gonna have to take away his life. You have the option. He says, either you do it, or I will do it and kill another.
What?
Random inmate.
Why do you always have these ones?
This is a moral dilemma. What would you
Christmas.
I've got a better football one. No, go on.
Run that by me again.
You're the father. The son gets caught. The guard wants you to do the final slice.
You wouldn't do that.
Or he says, if you refuse, I'm gonna do it anyway and kill just a random inmate.
So the guard says this.
Yeah.
So the guard's not going to kill my son, but kill somebody
He will
else.
kill your son anyway.
And somebody else.
And somebody else. That's
Well, I certainly wouldn't deliver the blow. I can't believe you come out with some horrendous ones, don't it?
But that's the point of moral dilemma.
That's very tough, and
It is tough,
I don't
isn't
actually
it?
have an answer right now.
Oh,
But I
don't.
thought you were going to go down the line of would you put yourself in a position as opposed to your son?
Yeah, let's
Yeah, but that's
say
easy.
that.
Come on. This is the point of the moral dilemma is for it's difficult.
Just
So-
I know I'm shaking the question here, but why am I in prison and why is my son in prison?
Yeah, good.
I have no idea. I have no idea.
I don't
No.
have an answer.
Okay, fine. What would you do?
That's tough, and
What
it'll
would I
take me
do?
a little bit of time.
I wouldn't end up in prison, mate.
No, come
I'm too
on.
quick.
Okay, you know what?
And my son, and if we did,
I wouldn't be able to.
and if we
I'll
did,
tell the God. No.
yeah. So
I don't think you'd be able to. It's your
Yeah,
flesh and blood,
yeah,
isn't
I
it?
would-
But
I'd do
the
it.
thought of somebody else
Someone
having
else.
to, it's horrible. It's horrendous.
yeah. So the moral of that story is don't end up in prison with your son.
Amen.
That would be a good idea.
Live a noble life.
Right. Well, Dan, thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you very
Pleasure.
much.
It's been a really enlightening and a very positive account of your journey, and thank you for sharing that.
Oh,
with
you're more
us.
than welcome. Thanks for
Really
having me. I hope
appreciate
it is positive because we went
I thought this was great.
in from the get-go, didn't we? But
Yeah.
hopefully,
Yeah, well, we keep it at about an hour, so we got to go in. We got to drill deep quite quick.
Sure.
We got to get to the point and uncover, the journey you've been on, which has been really positive. And I believe if anyone's listening that has got any kind of relatedness to anything that we've spoken about, there's a lot of I'll put some links in the description for people to go to, but obviously the 3 points just to finish on: stop, become aware, talk to someone you trust and love, and then find someone who can be objective like a professional if you've ever find yourself in any of the situations that we've spoken about.
absolutely, yeah.
Do you have anything you want to say before we...
I'm trying to think of something positive to end on. It's Christmas, isn't it?
What do you reckon the Everton score is going to be?
Absolutely going to get beaten. I've come to terms with it. If you expect the worst, then anything more positive just makes your life.
That's what you want to say?
It's a prerogative, innit?
There you go.
Yeah.
What do you want to finish on? Not another bloody moral question.
No, that'll be... I've got one for the next one as well. Don't
Brilliant.
worry.
Well, I don't want to hear it.
Save that one, yeah.
Excellent. Okay, well, thanks for listening, guys, and until next time we drill deep, goodbye.
Goodbye, guys.
Ciao.
Hi, I'm Will,
And I'm Ghazi.
and thanks for tuning in to The Big Drill. You can also find us on these platforms here. Make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel. You can find him on Insta,
Ghazi.92.
and me, Will Hawkins Coaching. The links are in the description. And until the next time we drill deep, goodbye.
Bye.